Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Walking Dead Wednesday here on our podcast. I am Sam. Joining me to discuss the latest episode of Fear the Walking Dead, it's my partner in crime, it's Stefan.
Now, I don't want to brag, okay?
Yeah.
But I am sat here in my Stuff and Things hoodie and baseball cap.
Wow, that's fully, yeah.
I'm uniformed up for the podcast.
Yeah.
And if you want one, of course, do message Sam because these things are awesome.
Yeah, they are actually very good.
Yes, I'm sat here fully uniformed up.
Yes, merchandise section, which will ship worldwide, is available via our website very soon. Thank you to everybody who's already had a hoodie and a t-shirt and a polo shirt over the last few weeks. A few people wanted beanie hats and they've gone as well, so...
Yeah, cool. I use mine for most of the winter.
Yeah, me too, actually.
But I thought if I'm going to talk about season 3 of the World Beyond Walking Dead, I thought I'd fully... Fear the Walking Dead. Sorry.
Yeah, it is.
I thought I'd fully uniform myself up.
I think it's safe to say, last week's episode, episode 9, so the first episode back after the mid-season break, we didn't enjoy it. We kind of looked at it and went, this episode didn't make a great deal of sense. It literally felt like a 45-minute fever dream followed by 5 minutes of actual content.
Yeah.
And it was strange, and still there's question marks over it, but it did highlight a couple of things in the episode that we kind of went, oh, okay, right, you know, this is a thing, like this massive nuclear crater filled with walkers that are radioactive, you know, why show us that if that's not going to come back? So that's interesting, and
yes.
So there are kind of things like this where from that episode, it wasn't for us, I think was the general gist of it. We looked at that and went, yeah, this isn't one for us. Next week could be better. And you made a joke. Which I'm going to make you pay for, because you said, imagine if next week's a bottle episode all about, I don't know, Charlie. Did you know?
No.
Had you looked ahead?
Honestly,
no.
I hadn't.
Wow.
It was just a character I thought I hadn't seen for a while.
It was, yeah, I mean, you literally plucked out, and I remember it at the time just laughing, thinking, oh wow, could you imagine a bottle episode about a young teenage girl?
And then you messaged me after you watched it first and messaged me.
Yeah.
I think you sent me hashtag teen drama or something, and I was like, who's the teen? Oh,
yeah,
surely
not
Charlie's
even.
the only teen I know. Oh,
not even a teen in this
Apparently
episode.
he's only 12. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so let's start with that, because I think I want to get that right out of the way straight away. So, I thought she was 13, 14, I thought she was like 10 when they ran into her, so now she must be 13, 14. Is she lying about her age in this, or is she genuinely that old in the show? Because I've read stuff and they're like, yeah, she's just becoming a teenager, and this episode's all about what it's like becoming a teenager. And I'm like, okay, just can that crap, because this is supposed to be an apocalypse show. But
yeah,
it would appear that, her age that she says in this show, that I am 12 and I realise I'm about to turn 13, is accurate.
Which makes you think about when she shot Nick.
She would have been 7, 8 at the most.
So, I have a stepdaughter who turned 7 in 9 days.
Well, be careful then, because if she gets hold of a gun, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, occasionally she still puts her t-shirt on backwards.
Yeah.
And this kid just ran around and shot someone.
Sorry to say this, but I'm 39 and I worked out the other day. This is bad, right? I'm going to share this with everyone. So the other day I got up late and I was rushing around like an idiot, and I looked down and I'm wearing this t-shirt and I'm like, oh crap, I've dropped something down this t-shirt. And I've obviously forgot to throw it in the wash, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? I've got to go out the door. So as a man, do I go up the stairs to find another clean item of clothing, or do I just throw a jumper on over the top of it and think that'd be fine?
Jumper every day,
yeah. So I just pick up the hoodie that's nearest me, throw that over the top, don't really think a lot about it, just charge out the door. I'm a bit uncomfortable, I've literally just thrown this thing on, I've gone out the door. It wasn't until, I don't know, 10 minutes into my journey when I realised why I was uncomfortable, is I had a hood in front of my face. Like right there on my chest. So, yeah, I'd put the hoodie on inside out and backwards. That was... And gone out the door like that, so, morning neighbours, morning lunatic. Yeah, so, yeah, that's my day. So I can't really say a lot about a 7-year-old putting her top on back to front, I've got to be honest with you. But, yeah, I get exactly what you mean. Now, we're in the apocalypse and Carl did some pretty badass stuff, so I'm willing to accept the child born into the apocalypse is going to be a badass. Judith, for example, is basically a samurai.
Yeah, okay.
So we're gonna go with it. Also gun control. Judith fired a hand cannon. If I'm going to accept the fact that didn't sever her
Rosita
arms,
and the rocket launcher.
Yeah, if we're going to accept these things, okay, fine. All right, we're going to accept it, and we're just going to accept all of it. So right, we're there. But yeah, the age thing. So he's 15. Right at the start of it, they make a real point of this. That he's 15.
You're only 15. Yeah, are you ready? Yes, I'm 15.
He's a 15-year-old boy. I do want to point out as well something that you cracked me up about with this. I thought his name was Ollie.
No.
To the point that this entire episode, I have written Ollie in all of my notes. Even though I saw that scene where they're talking about, your dad was like a big boxing fan or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I've done that. I don't know how I've heard Ollie when
his dad was Mohammed and his son was Ali.
Yeah, I just
the
absolutely...
bit that made me laugh the most, and this will probably get us cancelled by Disney now for saying this on the podcast, but when she's in the lift later on and she keeps saying his name, all I had in my head was the Genie song, Prince Ali.
Yeah, so I was just thinking she was shouting Ollie. I think it must have got in my head, and then that was all I could hear.
Well, I'm sure at one point a zombie was actually saying it as well.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get onto this later on in the podcast when it happens and we talk about it, but I'm convinced.
But yeah, so 15-year-old boy, 12-year-old girl. Everyone just keep that in their head while we go through this. Anyway, so we meet this guy straight away in this episode. Lovely young man, 15 years old, called Ali, not Ollie, and he wants to be a ranger. Ooh, just like every boy does when they want to grow up.
What do you want to do? You could live in this lovely tower, or you can go out there and face radiation and zombies.
Yeah. He wants to be a ranger for Victor. He's a big Victor fan. And Howard's there running things this week, because obviously they can't afford to pay Victor every week. I mean, the Victor's out on an important mission. And Howard sends him to find a rare butterfly.
Let's just pause it right there.
Let's just let that sink in for everyone. This is a genuine storyline in a Fear the Walking Dead episode. Is that someone we're just being introduced to, so we don't know, we don't care who the hell this is being sent out to find a rare butterfly.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That's happening. And
zombie apocalypse, I'd like to collect my butterflies, please.
Yeah. I mean, alright, fine, okay.
Has Victor finally gone to that level of insanity, or is this just like some bull initiation? I don't know, but...
Well, it's funny because we kind of have that conversation in the show. Like, John Dory Sr. basically is like, oh yeah, when I first joined the police, I was hazed and I had to do all sorts of stuff. And it made me think of, like, when you're a builder and you send the new boy to get tartan paint and stuff like that, and they come back 6 hours later, I couldn't find any. All right, fine, go get me a left-handed screwdriver.
I worked as a bar manager, and I did send a barmaid down to clean the fallopian tubes because the beers wasn't coming out clean.
Dude, you can't
down there for about 35 minutes. She was down there before she came up going, I just can't work out which one they are.
I'm delighted.
I've cleaned all the pipes that go to the Fosters, and I'm assuming I've done it right, but I couldn't work out which one it was.
I'm just delighted she didn't come back up and go, done. What?
Yeah, you were down there for 2 minutes. Yep.
Yeah. No. How have you cleaned them? Why are you walking funny? Anyway, I just like, okay, right. So we're just gonna shake this off. Bear in mind, like the last week's episode, me and you tore into it, and we had some feedback and people discussing it with me and stuff, and I was kind of like, do you know what? This week I've kind of gone into this week's episode thinking, right, try and be a little bit more positive. Try and even if it's not for me again this week, try and find the little bits that you can talk about and focus on them. So far, we got someone I don't know, don't care about, finding a butterfly, and I'm like, I'm really struggling to find the positive.
And it kind of made me laugh as well. So he goes out to find this butterfly. After kicking off about it, he gets on his horse and off he goes. Mm-hmm. And did you see how quickly he found this really rare butterfly? He literally walked into the clearing and went, "Oh, it's on the log."
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I mean,
I was like, okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a TV show, and if we'd gone 45, 50 minutes of this kid with a map and going around looking at butterflies and going, that's not it, that's not it, that's not it, I think this episode would have been even worse. Marginally.
I think it probably would have still got the 5.3 it got on IMDb.
Wow, that high?
That high.
Genuinely shocked. Genuinely, I think they've done well
episodes, there. The first 2 episodes back, 5.6 and 5.3.
Well,
the mid-season finale was only a 6.8, but
do you know what? I am shocked that it's that high. I'm actually now genuinely concerned about the audience of this show.
IMDb is normally fairly ruthless, and they've gone lenient.
I mean, that's perhaps it's us.
Every member of staff at AMC has rated it a 10, and they're trying to balance it out.
Perhaps it's us, man. Perhaps we're in the wrong here. Perhaps this is what people want to watch. I don't know. The boy
4.7% say no.
Yeah, the boy runs into Charlie. She's trying to rob him, and then, by the way, there's this scene in this moment, right, where Charlie takes her mask off. Mm-hmm. And so he's a boy, he's 15, she takes her mask off, and at this point, keep in mind, I'm thinking she's like 14. So and obviously the actress is older, so she takes her mask off, and they lock eyes for the first time, and you could almost hear like the birds singing, the zombies groaning. It was like a really beautiful moment. I'm like, oh no, don't do this to me. Don't make this a teenage romance episode. I can't handle it.
You made us watch 2 seasons.
I know.
I'm like, don't do it again.
I watched The World Beyond. I've served my time. Don't do this to me, just to give me then 5 seconds of Rick Grimes discussion. And then, sure enough, this is exactly what comes to pass. He takes her back to the tower. She tells a story about how she's on the submarine and the submarine lights come on and she could see the date. And because she could see the date, she knows she's about to turn 13. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This 15-year-old boy is basically, 12-year-old right now. I can't be the only person watching this show thinking, what are you doing, AMC? This feels weird.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable at that point. As soon as, beforehand, I'm kind of like, okay, young teen drama, fine. As soon as she says, oh, I realise I'm turning 13 next week, I went to, okay, she's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable, yeah.
Yeah, this is weird. So, this is Charlie. Charlie, like we talked about Carl, really. Charlie's kind of like the child apocalypse badass of Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah. I'm not saying that the Fear the Walking Dead showrunners tried to mirror the Walking Dead with a cowboy and all sorts, but they did. And it's worked until now. Because they're bringing back... Anyway. Charlie volunteers to go and get parts to fix an elevator is my next kind of bullet point.
So this is my thing. Of all the things that are happening in the world now, is really walking up some stairs the biggest of all of Victor's problems.
This is... I think this actually could come back to
cardio.
It's cardio. And by the way, if you've ever watched Zombieland, cardio is important. Yeah.
It's one of the first rules.
It's a very important rule. Yeah, cardio. Just such a funny film. Anyway, I just don't. Again, I'm kind of smiling, and I've got these emails that we've had in this week in my mind, where it's like, come on, try and find the positives, and I'm like, I'm trying. Okay, so I'm searching right here, and this is what is what I've searched for and found. I'm like, okay, so we've seen this boy get sent off to find a rare butterfly, and now we're watching Charlie get sent off to try and find some elevator parts.
Yeah.
Basically, this is his whims. This is Victor's. So, searching here, this is further illustration of Victor's descent. Victor is moved from being not a good guy to being a bit of a bad guy to now probably mad with power guy.
I think that's where you've got to look at it. Yeah, he's now gone to like full dictator, crazy on his own power.
Yeah, I always makes me think of the Simpsons line.
I'm weirdly thinking of current events, and
I always think of the Simpsons line. If anyone's ever watched the Simpsons movie, there's a guy, "Oh, you've gone mad with power," and he goes, "Of course I have. You ever tried to go mad without power? It's boring. No one listens to you."
Very much. This is Victor. Yeah, very much.
Cracks me up every time I think about it. So. Okay, so we've established that, and we're kind of like, okay, so this is why we're getting these things. So that's why we're getting this in this episode. Why I need an entire episode to demonstrate that, I'm not sure. However, it would appear that they've decided in this episode they would like to tell a lovely romance story, because Prince Ali...
Between an adolescent and a child.
Yeah, so Prince Ali is sent to watch Charlie and basically his sister get these elevator parts. Now, they're sending her into a building which previously fully fledged Rangers have gone and have come back radioactive. So, yeah, okay. But, she's got a face mask and stuff, so we're all cool. Mm-hmm. They head off. They have lovely... And they can't spare a second horse, by the way, which means that we have these quite beautiful riding scenes with the two of them together. And at this point, by the way...
I can't tell, mate. I can't tell if you're doing a podcast or trying to exercise, because I'm hearing a lot of stretching going on here. Yeah. Lots of reaching.
Oh, see, I was worried you were going to say something else.
Beautiful imagery of two people riding a horse as they get to know each other through the desolate wastelands of what was once a lovely, thriving city.
Boom! I'm recording that. That's going on the trail. Having that. Finger all the teenagers who tune in to listen to our show just to go, wow, they hate us. Oh, they lied. Why would they lie? So they're there together, and he takes her, like, there's some people out, marauders, I can't remember what he calls them, scavengers, I think. The people in the full-on, like, PPE suits, as I'm calling it, with heavy machine guns, organised group, very well armed.
Like military,
I really want to stress, by the way, and I want to say this a few times, just to really drive this point home for something later. They are really well armed, they look quite organised, and they are covered head to toe in thick rubber material like radiation suits.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no gaps. There's no clear and obvious way that you could possibly get to their skin. Just putting that out there.
They look like they know exactly what they're doing. They've been around for a while, and they could really pose a potential threat, not just to the tower, but potentially to Morgan's group,
to everyone.
The organisation and stuff they've got.
You
worry for Ali at this point, because he does seem to be very outnumbered and outgunned.
Oh, my friend, I am so worried about this character I've known 30 seconds. I am at this point just like, oh no, please, get inside the bowling alley quick. And they do, they get inside this old bowling alley, and Charlie's like, oh, I've never bowled. And I'm like, yeah, but there's bad guys outside, and Ali's like, no, get down.
So, let's pause it there and think about this, shall we? So, they're hiding from these guys that are trying to break through the door.
Yeah.
Ali knows exactly where the pump-action shotgun is.
Helpful.
Very
helpful,
that. But not helpful enough to take with him further on the journey.
So let me
bring that one.
No, let me just circle that a second, because I think this is an interesting thing, because at this point I thought to myself, is this where this kid used to live? I think this is where he was perhaps before his father died. Yeah. And that's why he does know the shotgun, because there's no way this far into the apocalypse a shotgun is just hanging around anywhere.
It's literally on a crate behind a bar.
Yeah, not a chance. Not a chance in any stretch of hell would anyone marauders going through not have already looted this place. And would they look at a shotgun and go, oh, nah, never mind. No, that's no good, is it? I mean, what good could a shotgun come in the zombie apocalypse?
That's far too powerful at close range. Don't want that.
Ooh, quick, someone hand me some Skittles. You know, it's a nonsense.
They're all perfectly lined up.
Oh, yes. So you've got me there as well. So this is a 10-pin bowling alley, which has clearly been, untouched during the apocalypse.
Untouched.
No walkers in there ever. There's no carnage, sign of anyone dead. So maybe, he does have it locked down. Perhaps they did genuinely stay in there, and perhaps they did maintain it, including keeping the pins up.
Yep.
We then have a scene which, this group have moved away. They've been gone for a good 30 seconds, so clearly
I would
it's
say
safe.
They are at least they've gone from the front door to now the side door. I would say.
Yeah. So everything's safe now. Everything absolutely safe. You can make as much noise as you like. Yeah. So we have a beautiful scene between young people where Charlie wants to bowl because she's never bowled in her life.
And this is again now. Charlie's been around the group long enough.
Yeah.
She ain't stupid.
No.
She picks up a bowling ball and hurls it down the alley, and I'm like, no, Charlie wouldn't have done that. That's just stupid.
So do you want to know how bad this is, right?
Yeah.
I am now, at this point, reaching so hard to find a purpose for this episode. I have created a better episode in my own head. So I'm like, Charlie is the ultimate secret double agent. And we've seen that when she was a kid. Yeah. She has lured this kid out. The people and all that and that stuff, that's Morgan. That's Charlie's people.
I think I messaged you, didn't I, saying it must be Luciana?
No, and she knows. So what is special about the kid? Is there anything? Perhaps they just need his axe. Perhaps they just need someone they can manipulate. Perhaps that's what it is. But there's no way she would be so stupid to make that noise and to do that unless she actually knew she was safe. She's trying to earn this kid's trust, trying to get in with him. And then they get to the building where the elevator parts are supposed to be, and she's like all cool and calm, like, the walkers in there, they'll be on the ground floor, or mostly on the ground floor, so I'll go in higher. And he's like, I'll come with you. She's like, nope, it's better I go by myself. And I'm like, see, she's going to be meeting her people upstairs. And then sure enough, she vanishes. And as soon as she's gone, like, instantly, boom, this kid's taken captive by the
at this point, this is why I messaged you, like, oh my God, it's Luciana. Because he had like that, the Hispanic-y kind of accent. And I was like, Luciana's there. This is a setup. I knew Charlie hadn't gone soft. Here we go.
I was like, finally.
Why are they marching him towards the building? This is a strange tactic for Morgan and Co.
The beautiful episode that I've got in my head now is formulating, and I'm like, okay, come on, let's have some darkness. Let's combat this teenage nonsense.
Yeah.
He gets to the door, and you can hear there's walkers the other side of the door. Now, this crack unit, this heavily armed 4 to 5 people, head to toe in these plastic rubber suits. Which,
they've even got like proper old style like sacks over the head and stuff, which are tough as nails.
Yeah. Like, you can't get through these. I cannot stress this enough. That material is designed not to rip, not to be broken or anything, because you wearing that in a lab and it breaks, you're dead. So it is designed ridiculously durable.
Fairly tough, yeah.
Yeah. This stuff is the business, and these people have clearly never seen the dead before. 10 years into the apocalypse,
no idea how to react.
Opens the door, and rather than lifting the weapons in their hands to shoot the dead, they all seem to have some sort of panic and expose their necks. I'm so lost. I'm like watching this scene going, this makes no sense.
Like, the only part that made sense was that Ali was smart enough to open the door and trap himself behind it.
Yeah.
And I was like, fair play, they're going to mow down the... the first guy got caught. That was stupid. Second... they've all fallen into a pile on top of each other.
Mate, I could have accepted maybe one of them getting taken out.
Like the first one by the pure volume of walkers.
Sheer numbers. But when you think about the fact he was holding a Kalashnikov and all he'd have to do is lift it and pull the trigger and that whole row of dead are gone.
Yeah.
I'm baffled. I am just... And then the others also carrying the same weaponry. Now, did none of them have any bullets? And if that's the case... they must be carrying knives, or use the other hand, fight, punch the things. And if you're still so shocked and dumbfounded by zombies because you've clearly never seen them in 10 years, how is it bitten through these suits? There's no way.
No.
I'm so lost by that scene, and I'm kind of just focusing on that, thinking what the actual. And then you get him enter the building, and by the way, who trained him? The SAS? This is a 15-year-old boy.
The way he's walking with the gun pointed, like bent, crouched down, he does look like something out of a Bond film.
Yeah, it's like a 15-year-old boy. Now, his dad was in the military, so I am now going to take on some sort of crazed level. His dad trained him very, very well with a firearm.
Because this kid is
this kid's headshots. It is just bang, 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 bang. Now I'm fine with this, right? It's The Walking Dead. I'm fine with the fact that regular people are using guns like trained pros. Yeah, I'm cool. We're 10 years into the apocalypse. I can buy into this.
Yeah.
But this 15-year-old kid is just straight up like he's in a bloody first-person shooter game going around the corner because he's got his arm locked in front of him.
Yeah.
Zero recoil because, that doesn't exist in this world. And just absolutely tapping everything, killing them, one-shot kills. And then he gets to and Charlie has, lost her mask.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's weird. And she's like, yeah, I took these out. I locked the rest of them in that room. I'm like, right.
One of them caught the mask, and I wasn't going to fight to get it back.
Yeah, which is okay. But I'm like, they've not shown us that, so this feels weird. Mm-hmm. This feels like, how would that have happened?
I'm still there, going. There's something going on here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you. But we know this building's where the Rangers went and all came back with radiation poisoning. And she's like, oh, I took a reading and it's fine. And I'm like, okay, alright, whatever. Moving on.
At this point, my mind's going in one or two places.
Yeah, go for it.
Either she's completely lying about the reading.
Yep.
And therefore just doomed this kid to death as well.
Yep.
Or there is some sort of weird secret plan that she's on about, and the reading actually is 0.
Yeah.
But then what the hell killed the other Rangers?
Yeah. Well, perhaps they were exposed to the radioactive walkers, but
yeah,
I'm like you. I'm kind of like, right, okay. I'm trying to find the best in this.
It's done one or two ways.
We then have Charlie give a confession to why she's really there, and at this point, I just give up. I basically just go, nope. She has been with Morgan for a good couple of years now. She has been with Daniel Salazar. She has a real affection and a real solid relationship with Daniel. Mm-hmm. Her and Alicia, due to the connection of where, she straight up murdered her brother. And Madison, etc., who took her in and gave her a second chance before she straight up murdered her brother. She has that connection with this group, and she's been surviving with and living with for a long time. She has known this boy at this point for at best 24 hours, and I say at best because it's probably less.
We're talking that at most they met yesterday morning, spent a night in the tower, and then got sent out. Yeah,
and she's just completely dumping on everyone else to live with this boy.
Yeah, but look at the jawline he has, or the hair, or I don't know. Obviously, he has something that Morgan and Daniel don't. Hair. He has hair. Yeah.
He's 15, she's 12. Just keep thinking about that.
I'm trying not to, because it's weird.
The boy doesn't take the news well. He takes the part that he was supposed to take, locks her in the elevator. The dead are breaking in. The ones that she locked up safely are now breaking through the door.
Yeah.
The wooden door.
That really secure door that's taken quite a long time to get through. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he leaves her, and he's talking to Howard over the radio, and then she's like, "Oh, don't leave me!
Ali, don't leave me! Ali,
why would
Prince
you leave
Ali.
me?
Yeah.
We're in love. I can tell by the way I've known you 2 seconds." And then he does come back.
I'm going to die if you leave me here. Hashtag irony.
He does then come back.
Yeah.
He headshots the whole way, saves her, and the pair have a passionate kiss.
Beforehand, he starts talking about how they're going to run away because there's lots of firsts that he still wants to do.
Yeah,
now, as soon as he said about there's a lot of firsts, my brain went to, she's 12, don't go there.
Yeah,
and then they kiss each other, and I'm like, geez, they are actually going there with a 15-year-old and a child.
Yeah. No, I had Sweet Home Alabama blaring out in my head.
But it was like, when he first said about, there's so many firsts to do, in my head, I'm like, okay, they're not that stupid, but that's just a really badly phrased line.
Yeah.
They kiss each other, and she goes, well, that's a first. And I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this at all. Like, surely someone in the writing department, the post-production department, the test audience, whatever they use, watched that and went, I'm not entirely comfortable with that. You've made us all aware that she's 12 and he is 15.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's called a jail sentence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to think about it. My daughter's 13.
Exactly. And I'm like, this is not right. Why is this on a TV show? Why is it not being flagged up?
It actually gets worse.
Yeah.
Because the scenes in the butterfly house thing, anyway. So, like I said,
I'm going to circle back to that very briefly and very quickly.
There is a scene where they've kissed, and then he heads back and he's talking on the radio, right?
Yeah.
And the way it's framed in this scene, I'm like, he's going to get shot.
Yeah, it's that camera angle we've spoken about, isn't it?
I in this moment, I'm like, oh, please, Charlie, knock him out from behind, spark him out, kill him, shoot him in the back of the head, because I needed some darkness at this point, and this show needs it. This is too namby-pamby for me. I need something. I need her to have knocked him out and stand over him. Morgan and everyone come in the room and be like, "Oh, you okay?" Like, "Yeah, dumbass." I need to feel like she's manipulated this kid and it's gonna be all worth it.
Yeah.
No, he turns around and she faints. And I'm like, dude, imagine that being your first kiss and the girl blacks out afterwards. You got bad breath. You need to go and sort that shit out. He rushes her, Oh no, he calls John Dory Sr., who he thinks is nearby, and John Dory Sr. gets her back to the tower where she's being treated. Now, we don't see her, we just see Dr. June leave the room.
We do. Quickly going back to the John Dory Sr. thing.
Oh, okay.
So, when he's sent out to collect the butterflies at the beginning, there's a gunshot, and within moments, John Dory and the rest of them are there. So, clearly, they're keeping an eye and watching him.
Yeah.
Therefore, when he radios John Dory, is that because he knows that, again, there is someone very close by? So, where the heck were they when the 5 people in the armour basically tried to kidnap him? They weren't keeping an eye on him very well.
They were bowling.
They were at the bowling alley. That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense now. Yep.
Yeah, they were bowling and leaving.
I was in my head. I'm like,
behind.
Yeah, in my head, I'm like, wait a minute. So we know that they're kind of not just sending him out on their own. Yeah. There is some sort of someone around them. So no one stopped the guys at the bowling alley, and no one stopped them when they tried to kidnap him.
No.
But they're close enough to come and get them when something goes like she collapses.
And they're instantly get her back to the tower, and we're told that she has severe radiation poisoning. It's obviously got into her system somehow, and she's in a bad way.
Now, as you've already pointed out, we don't see her at this point.
No, so
we only see June.
Fake. It's a fake.
In my head, I'm like, oh, she's literally just laid down on the floor and gone, oh no. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, she is still Team Morgan. This is still a ruse. Yep. Go on. There is backstabbing here. This is slightly dark. Yes, Charlie. June's in on it because she said at the beginning she wanted to find June and June was going to help her, and I'm like, okay, the plan is still going ahead. It's fake. Yes.
No.
It's still some kind of manipulation thing. It's not complete crap.
The boy then goes to see her in her hospital bed. She looks sweaty and minging. Yep. But he gets in the bed next to her anyway, even though she's radioactive.
Yeah.
All makes perfect sense. There's nothing quite like hugging someone who literally could kill you with a hug.
Who's giving off a nice green glow.
Yeah. Oh, I feel warm and tingly inside. Yeah, that's the radiation poisoning, you dumbass.
Yeah. And then he sneaks her out into the room for her birthday to say happy birthday to the now just about 13-year-old.
Yeah, so now she's literally a teenager. She is 13, he's 15.
And
she's 13 for a few hours, and he decides to,
Now, this is what makes me laugh the most, okay? So he gives a speech to her about how I was a coward and I left my dad to die because I didn't want to see it happen. So therefore, I'm not going to leave your side. I'm going to do everything to be with you, including releasing the homicidal lunatics butterflies into a room and pretty much writing my own death sentence. But I'm going to be with you till the end.
It gets better than that. She confides in him. My mission was to turn the light off on the top of the roof, and she's like, I need to let Morgan know I'm not going to do it, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll do it for you, and I'm like, oh.
So now that's the scene. Okay, so we've had this montage of them laughing and joking around with butterflies.
Really uncomfortable.
It's ridiculously uncomfortable. Now, if there is ever a film you watch and there has been any sort of montage like that or any sort of scene at all with two people together, and the next scene is the bloke walking up behind her, wrapping a blanket round her and giving her a kiss on the back of the head or something.
Yeah,
you know exactly what has just happened before that scene.
Yeah, they just went to Pound Town.
She's 13 and he's 15, and AMC have decided that is okay to show on their television show.
Oh, definitely. And she's 13 by at least a few hours now, so we're okay. Yeah.
And they've already dropped the whole, there's a lot of firsts I'd like to do.
I know.
And now they've done this. And I don't think I've ever actually been so angry at a TV show like The Walking Dead for something like this until this. Like, I was watching this last night going, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah,
this has been approved and allowed on TV.
Yeah.
What the fuck, AMC? What the hell?
Oh, yes.
And I'm hoping I'm not the only person that sat there going, what the fuck has just happened?
Well, we all know what's just happened, and that makes it a million times worse. Don't get me wrong.
And she's radioactive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, a condom ain't going to help you with that.
No.
So, anyway, they've done whatever they've done. And
then he's decided, that's it, you must be the love of my life. Let me go sacrifice myself on the roof.
Yeah, so...
Oh, goodness.
To show how very not into this episode I was, I then did bust a gut laughing as they hurl this kid off the roof and he goes past the window.
Charlie's like, what's that noise?
She's there looking out the window all lovingly in that beautiful afterglow of radiation poisoning. And you hear... I'm like, okay. I feel like there's a team of writers for this episode, and there's one guy who's our age sat there who's hated every minute of being in that writer's room, and he has fought for one scene, and that was it.
Just give me this one thing at the end. Why? Because the rest of it...
Yeah, and everyone else is like, oh, that kind of like, oh yeah, it's a noble death and everything, and this guy's just gone to the sound department and gone, right, I want to hear... and then I want to hear the squelch, alright? Yeah, we got you. Oh, no. It's
the way, like, he's on the roof and he goes to do it and then he gets cornered. Yeah. And he's like, oh, you're not the person to make changes. They're not the person. I believe in Charlie, that girl for 24 hours I've known. I believe.
The start of this episode. I want to be a ranger. Victor's my hero. Go Team Victor. 24 hours later, the guy gets his first crush and he's like, oh God, maybe this is real. This is teenagers.
Pretty much, yeah. I think this is scary now. But he's up there. He tries to... Before he gets thrown off the building, let's just have a little bit of a giggle here.
Yeah.
He throws himself at Howard and tries to... It's Howard, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is Howard.
And tries to get the gun off him, punches him a couple of times, and all the Rangers point guns at Ali. And Howard's like, no, it's fine. I let him have the first one. Don't worry about it.
And then he goes
He
again.
then decides, oh, wait a minute, that didn't work. I'll try it again.
Yeah.
And then he's in a stranglehold, and then suddenly he goes, please don't kill me. No. I wasn't trying to steal the gun to kill you. No, please don't kill me. And you're watching it going, you're going off the top.
Well, I'm also just thinking this kid was trained with a handgun to be lethal one-shot killer. Did the dad not think of hand-to-hand combat at any point?
No hand-to-hand or how to disarm someone.
No.
I mean, in fairness, not many zombies are probably walking around with a handgun, but
no.
Still. And I'm like, I'm waiting for the magic carpet to come and save Prince Ali, but it doesn't happen.
No, splat.
Splat out.
Splat, yeah.
Yeah. And again, it shouldn't have been a scene that you laughed at.
Oh, I was killing myself. It was amazing. It was
like, in my head, I'm like basically working this out as he knows that she's going to die any day, so therefore he goes and says, oh my god, it's a crap version of the Apocalypse Romeo and Juliet.
The only saving thing for me would be if we then get she's absolutely fine, and we're gonna get some scene where June says to her next week okay, you're in the building now, Charlie, what are you gonna do? It's like, well, I know I can't get to the light now, that idiot tried for me. It's like,
that would be phenomenal.
It's gonna be the only saving grace if she is ice cold and in a couple of weeks she's seducing some other teenage boy wrapped around her finger, and I'd be like, yes, there we go. She is.
Charlie is still Charlie.
She
it's
is
okay.
queen. And then when she's with this other boy, she's like, oh yeah, no, I just turned 15. I'll be like, oh, thank God you were lying about your age.
Because that's the only way AMC gets saved.
Because it's the only way I'm going to feel okay about this episode I've watched, is if she actually is an absolute ruthless badass manipulating all these young men. Because right now, the episode ends with June standing in between her and this Howard guy, basically I'm more important to Victor than you. If anyone gets sick, they need me. They don't need you.
However, if they've got radiation poisoning, it doesn't bloody matter anyway.
No,
you just lock them in a room and leave them.
I did think that, but never mind. She's the doctor, and let's face it, doctors die normally.
You can only have one, so
yeah. If another one
after
shows
the
up,
one you've got.
It's like one-on-one combat time.
Yeah.
So there we go. That was the episode.
I think we've done quite well this week. There was laughter. It's 40-odd minutes long. We laughed, we joked, we made it sound like a romantic love novel.
There are a few audio clips we could take from this where we positively sound like we were over the moon.
I'm going to have real good fun making a TikTok of this podcast.
No, you could.
I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to make it sound like a gushing love story.
You could put the orchestral Romeo and Juliet theme in the background.
Exactly. I'm going to have if you guys are on TikTok, find Stuff and Things Podcast and look out. Yeah. You would have heard the podcast first, I'm aware, but there will be a trailer for this week's podcast. Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
I did, probably just because of my sheer... oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking about this. I did miss the tradition, and I'm going to do it now, because otherwise I will get emails.
Yes, you will.
This was Season 7, Episode 10, and the title of the episode was...
Morning Cloak.
Why?
I didn't see a cloak in it.
No, and I mean, I was in mourning.
I was in mourning for my first
time.
Half.
Yeah,
first half of the season, I was mourning.
I was like, just 40 minutes of my life I'm not getting back. I am in mourning for those 40 minutes.
Now, do you want some good news?
Yes, please.
I can make you feel better about this.
Yeah, okay,
so it. I am currently on IMDb.
Yes.
And this week they've actually updated it.
Okay.
So I can tell you the next 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The next episode is actually about Luciana, Wes and Daniel.
Right.
So that has potential.
But so basically we're getting episode after episode of small
bits. But I'm thinking Luciana and Wes test the limits of their patience when Daniel's worsening mental state ends up endangering them all. So that sounds a bit more like first half of the season.
Okay.
That could be okay. The next episode is Baby Mo goes missing in the tower, and Dory Sr. has to find himself in a unique position to fight to prove his worth. Now, what this means is that at maximum, we have 4 episodes of Madison. Maximum is only 4 episodes of Madison.
Okay, alright.
So there is us ending our podcast on a positive. There is only a maximum of 4 she can appear in.
Yeah.
Because there is no mention of a stranger from the past or anything like that. None of that is mentioned.
I'm still just looking on the positive that if they kill her off again, I get to watch the woman die twice. That's it.
I still want to know how she survived the first one.
Oh, it's going to be backsold in the most worst freaking way possible. Like, you know, and there she was under the dumpster the whole time.
Baseball stadium engulfed in flames and The Walking Dead. And
thousands of walkers on fire, backed into a corner with no exits. However, she survived because Superman came in. No, anyway.
She killed 3 zombies and then laid underneath their bodies and waited.
Maybe she full on whispered it, like she ripped one apart and wore it and walked out. I might like her a little bit if she did that.
I mean, that would be pretty, to be fair, if she just like destroyed the first one and just rolled in his guts and then just walked out. Like, you!
Could you imagine that? That should be hilarious. But then at the same time, her family and everyone were like, we're not far away. If she got out straight away, which she must have, how the hell else would she have survived? Why didn't she go and find her family? What is anyway? I can't do it.
No.
Do you want to know how I think they're gonna backsell it? Right? Do you want to know how I think? I think she's in that stadium. All of this is going on. Everyone's driven away. Everyone's run away. Like, oh no, Madison saved us by sacrificing herself. And then a helicopter comes in and opens up, and the helicopter, she gets saved, and she's with them. And I'm going to sell you right now that if she is friends with Rick, I may absolutely lose my brain. Like, I may have an aneurysm. It may be the thing that
Let's go one step further.
Yeah, go on.
Let's go one bit. So, he's now over Michonne. He's convinced he's never seeing Michonne and then ever again.
No, I know where you're going. If you... No, bad
Baby
stuff.
No. Rick Maddie.
You had to put that in my head.
That could be it. That is how she's brought back as the girlfriend / wife of Rick Grimes. Madison Grimes!
Imagine if she's there. Because there used to be this thing, there was this theory a long time ago that she was actually a member of the Grimes family. Do you remember that? It was like kind of like, it was going to be some crazy link, like she was Rick's sister.
I remember right at the very beginning, like season 1 they said about it. Yeah.
It was like, you know, she could be... So actually, right, so if they're going to do this, and if they went that way, and you do imagine, right, if she's there, she's like, oh, I was actually saved by your uncle. It's like, oh, what? Uncle Peter? No, your Uncle Peter was useless. You remember Sheriff Uncle Rick? Because you imagine watching a show and just be like, huh?
Yeah, what the?
yeah, you would just be like, oh, how is Uncle? Oh, he's well, you know, he's trying to get back home, but he's got to serve some time in the army for the Civic Republic, and
he got shot up pretty bad.
But you know, he's doing loads better. Yeah, he's dating a woman called Jadis. Right, nope, done. Nope. Nope. Show over. Anyway, that's enough from us for one day. Thank you for listening to us here on Walking Dead Wednesday. We will be back next week where we hope and say our prayers to all of the Walking Dead gods that the show gets back to part A of season 7 levels, because the first 2 episodes have not been for us. Let's put it as politely as we possibly can. Big thank you to everybody for listening. Everyone who gets in touch with us, we always really do appreciate it, so continue to do that. Stefan said at the start of the show, if you are interested in any of the merchandise or anything like that, then you can also drop me an email at the moment. The merchandise shop section of the website will be going live soon, just as soon as I finish it. But yeah, that is it from me. You all take care. We'll be back really soon.
That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.